humans. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jenny. This is a core and restore practice. So for this practice, you're going to want some props. I am going to suggest a blanket, maybe a medium-sized blanket. We're going to be doing a lot of work on the knees, on hands and knees today. So you're going to want to bring in some cushion, a little padding for the knees. If you don't have a blanket, maybe a second yoga mat. You can also double up on the yoga mat. So yeah, grab one of those and maybe a larger blanket as well for when we get into the restore part. You may also want to grab a block or two. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use books, something similar along those lines. You can also grab cushions, pillows, couch cushions, stack of pillows if you have meditation cushions, all that good stuff. So yeah, for class today, what I want to focus on is mindful engagement. Now for those watching live, we are in the first week and a half of 2021, and it has been a very interesting week. Let's just say that much. Who am I kidding? It's been a shitstorm. But what I want to focus on is mindful engagement. So how can we bring that into our physical practice? And then how can we take that off the mat into our real lives? So, mindful engagement is just, noticing how we are engaging for that movement, for that action. And this can be taken off the mat with how are we engaging with social media? How are we engaging with news outlets? How are we engaging with people who have opposing thoughts or views or feelings about what's going on, or just in general? It doesn't have to be political, but how are we engaging with our outer world? And it's important to stay informed, to know what's going on, to know the issues, but we don't want to get sucked into the he said, she said. We don't want to get sucked into the blaming of the other, blaming the other parties or blaming other people. We don't want to get sucked into the fear mongering. We don't want to get sucked into all this negativity. It's good to be aware of that sort of thing is happening, but how can we engage in that without letting that kind of take over and kind of affect what we're doing, affect our thoughts, feelings, and how we take a course of action. So for the core part, we are going to be getting into some deep core activation to build stability. And I'll talk a little bit later about the difference between core strength and core stability. So we're going to be doing some smaller movements, very small micro movements to get those smaller muscles. So core strength is really, like the six-pack abs, or you can do 1,000 sit-ups a day. And that strengthening, those are the larger muscles. And for stability, we want to work the smaller muscles and focus not just on, the rectus abdominis, those big muscles here that create that six-pack, but the smaller muscles underneath, the obliques, the back, this whole kind of corset set. So we're going to be doing a lot of very subtle movements with activation, so pay attention to the cues. And as always, I give different levels of activation. Don't feel like you have to jump into the hardest one, or that you need to push yourself further than your body is capable of. I give all of those options so that you have plenty of time to explore, to feel into your body, to find what feels right for you, and to cater this practice to be whatever you need it to be. So we're going to be doing some deep core work in the first part, and then the second part we're going to get into some deep relaxation. So we'll kind of calm the body down with some gentle movement, and then we're going to settle into a yoga nidra practice. And if you're unfamiliar with yoga nidra, it is a meditation, and it's my favorite kind of meditation because it works with the conscious and the subconscious. Kind of gets you into that middle world where you're not quite asleep, but you're not fully awake. The body is resting, the mind is still aware. It's kind of comparable to lucid dreaming, but it's a little more intentional. We want to keep ourselves in that zone. But since we're playing with that kind of half sleep area, it's common and not a bad thing if you fall asleep. And the reason that it's one of my favorite forms of meditation is because I'm personally notorious for falling asleep during meditation. And since it works with the subconscious, your body is still absorbing, your mind is still absorbing what is going on, while your consciousness won't remember what was said or what, the visualization or anything like that. Your subconscious is absorbing it and integrating it. So even if you fall asleep during that practice, you're still getting the benefits. So grab any props that you need, because for that, we just want to settle into a nice, comfortable position, supporting yourself in any way. If you want to grab an eye pillow or, something to cover the eyes. So that is what I have on the agenda for us today. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So if it feels comfortable for you, we are going to meet in a hero's pose. So on the knees, and again, this is where you're going to want to bring in a blanket. Even if you don't have knee issues, we don't want to create knee issues with our yoga practice. So you may have some ego around using padding or using props. Just drop that and let yourself just, support yourself with a little bit of cushion. So if it feels good, meet me on the knees, the hips kind of sitting on the heels. If that doesn't feel good, find a comfortable seated position that does. Hands come to the thighs or rest alongside the body, and really establish that solid foundation in the sits bones. So whether it's rooting down towards the earth or towards the heels, get that stability for your nice base, and then lengthen up through the crown of the head. Find that nice erect spine. So we're sitting up tall, but nothing rigid. We don't have to be soldiers here. So relax in the shoulders, relax in the face. And as we lengthen up through the crown of the head, we're going to find a little bit of engagement here. So a little activation of the core to help support that. And not just the front core. You're going to find it in the back. You're going to find it in the sides. So as we sit up nice and tall, engage in those core set muscles so that we can have that nice lengthening through the spine. You can close the eyes or soften the gaze. If you are seated on the ground and it's a little harder for you to find that length in the spine, go ahead and bring in a prop. You can sit on a cushion, on a block, on a pillow, anything like that. And that just kind of lifts the pelvis a little bit so that it creates more space in the hips. That's nice, especially if you have tighter hips, low back, or hamstrings. If you are in hero's pose and it's getting to be a little bit much, you can also slide a block in between the ankles so that you have a little cushion there, a little, something to kind of take a lot of weight off of the heels, off of the feet, and maybe not so deep of a bend in the knees. You're welcome to close the eyes or soften your gaze. Just starting to notice your breath. Starting to connect a little deeper with your breath. So if it feels right, finding a lengthening of the inhale, an extension of the exhale. And working with deep belly breathing, we want to take the breath all the way down to the belly. Let the belly button press out, creating more space for the lungs to expand, giving yourself a little Buddha belly. And then on the exhale, drawing that belly in towards the spine, up towards the heart, helping to press all that air out, and hugging in of the ribs to help to start to find more of that core activation. You're welcome to fire up Ujjayi breathing, finding that activation of the muscles in the back of the throat. So the muscles that fire up when you're fogging up a window or a mirror, kind of that sound. But with the mouth closed, breathing in and out of the nose and drawing that breath from the activation in the muscle, in the throat. Awesome work. Now continuing with that little bit of drawing in and releasing of the belly. Kind of follow that and bring in just some subtle arching through the kind of low back and mid back. So we're not taking it into full cat-cow where we're getting the shoulders and the chest involved, but we're keeping it isolated here. So there's that slight tilt in the pelvis. So it's like a little mini cat-cow here, but facilitate that movement from the belly button. So draw that belly out and then draw the belly in. So again, it's not a large movement, and it's just through that torso, through the low and mid back. Awesome work. Now with that same kind of idea, we're just going to take it side to side. So subtle little movements. Again, we're not, getting the shoulders involved. It's not big movements here. It's just kind of that subtle shift side to side, finding a little expansion through the side body, a little expansion through the ribs, and getting into those smaller muscles here. Continue to breathe. Awesome work, and when you feel ready, combine all of those movements into some small torso circles. Doesn't matter which direction you go, we're going both ways. Linking the breath to the movement in whatever way feels intuitive to you. And these movements could be as fast or as slow as you want, as long as you're activating through that core, facilitating the movement from the belly button. And again, we're not, rocking through the hips. It's nothing big. Starting to feel that firing up of the core. When you're ready, reverse the direction. Awesome work. Coming back through neutral, we're going to come forward to a tabletop. So if you were in hero's pose, you can just move forward, planting the hands on the ground. If you were seated, then just find your tabletop here. Again, have that padding in the knees. Your future knees will thank you. Find a solid planting of the hands and take a moment to find what feels right for you here. So maybe it's, shoulders underneath the wrists. Maybe it's taking the wrists a little wider. Maybe it's walking them forward. Maybe it's even turning the hands out or in. Whatever feels right for you here. Gaze towards the ground so you have a nice neutral spine. Lengthening out through the crown of the head, out through the tailbone. Awesome work. And now let's find those little pulses through the belly. So inhaling, letting the belly drop. Pressing the belly out, exhaling to draw it in. Now notice I'm not really tilting through the pelvis, so it's not that full-on cat-cow action here. It's nice and subtle. All right, if it feels right with you, go ahead and shift the weight into the left hand without shifting through the body, and then we're gonna lift and extend the right fingers out towards the front. As we continue to draw that belly in. Awesome work. Now bring the fingers and the thumbs together and then bring that into the belly button. Find a slight tucking of the pelvis so that we kind of round out through the low back and then pulse that belly in. That movement, again, is facilitating from the belly button, and the fingers are there just as a little reminder, and so that we can feel that activation. Notice the pressing in of that left hand, press into the tops of both feet, draw that belly in. Again, it's not that big movement through the pelvis is slightly tucked, and we pulse through the belly. Even though it may not look like we're doing much, I'm starting to build up a little sweat, a little heat, starting really feeling those core activators here, working on that stability in the core. Awesome work. Now from here, if it feels right in your body, shift the weight into the right knee, again, without shifting through the hips, so we can extend the left leg back. Then we're either going to just hover the toes a little bit above the ground or bring that thigh parallel to the ground. Then we're going to take our clasped fingers here and take it over towards the right, your left oblique. So finding that muscle here on the side, we're going to bring the fingers there so we can feel that activation. Now from here, we're going to contract through the oblique, which is going to draw the left hip bone up towards the left rib. And it's naturally going to bring a little lowering of the foot. Now notice how I cued that. We're not raising and lowering the leg here. That's not what we're doing. The core is driving, so the oblique contraction naturally brings in that hip lifting, and that, just kind of as a byproduct, lowers the toe. So again, you can have the toes hovering so that as you contract, the toes find the ground, you get a little bit of rest there. Or with the foot parallel, we bring it down so that the toes stay hovering, getting a little more activation here. But again, it is coming from this oblique muscle contracting, which draws that hip up and brings in that little movement through the leg. So very subtle. Awesome work. Checking in with the body, checking in with that balance, finding the breath. All right, when you're ready, extend through that leg and then bend the knee. Heel comes up towards the sky, so we're making almost a 90-degree angle with the knee. The hands, if you're okay with the balance, are still at that left oblique. And then we find some small little circles through the torso, moving from that left oblique. So just like we did seated, nice and small. And it's going to bring a little natural kind of movement through that knee, but we're not circling through the knee to get that. We're circling through the obliques. Stay with the breath. You might be really feeling that right booty cheek, and reverse the direction of the circles. Awesome work. This is the last little bit that we've got here in our tabletop on this side, so stick with it if it feels right for you. Challenge the body without pushing it too far. We don't want to cause injury. All right, awesome work. Release the right hand down. And then, oh, I lied, I've got one more for you. So we're going to draw that left knee towards the left wrist. And then we're going to, again, work with that contraction through the oblique, drawing the hip up. And so that's naturally going to have the knee go kind of from the wrist up towards the elbow and release back down. Now again, we're not facilitating that movement through the knee. The oblique is in the driver's seat. Awesome, let's do about 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Release that right hand down. Extend the left leg out to the side. Plant the foot, really press into the outer edge. So root that pinky toe down, root through the outer edge here. All right, then we're going to start to walk the hands back. Right hand's going to come out to the right, in line with the right knee. So we've got a straight line, right hand, right knee, left foot, as we come into this side plank variation. You're welcome to extend the left arm up towards the sky, getting a nice oblique stretch here. You can take it even further, reaching the fingers overhead, bicep by the ear, opening up through that side body. Nice stretch for the obliques. Or you could take it to a shoulder stretch as well, Reaching the arm up, bending the elbow, releasing it to the low back, and then drawing that shoulder back. So whatever kind of side stretch feels good here. Awesome work. I've got one more oblique work for you on this side, but before we do it, let's raise up towards center using the strength in the obliques. And then exhale, just open up to gate pose, just a nice little counter stretch. Ooh, my tummy's growling. Apparently it's lunchtime. All right. When you're ready, we're gonna release back through center. That right hand comes back down towards the ground. And we're gonna turn the left toes up towards the sky. So we get an external rotation here. If it helped, bring the hand to those left obliques. Again, we're gonna facilitate the movement through that. So we're gonna find that crunching, the hip coming towards the rib, and that's going to naturally cause a little lifting through the leg. Again, you could just hover the foot above the ground, or you could rest the heel in between sets. But again, we're not kicking that leg up. The leg is not driving here. The oblique activation is what's getting us. So it's nice and subtle, staying with the breath. Nice and mindful, mindful engagement. All right, let's take it 3, 2, and 1. Plant the foot down. Walk the hands forward. Send the hips back. One-legged extended child's pose. Awesome work. Allowing yourself to release down towards the ground. Awesome. When you're ready, raise the hips so that you can step that left foot back in to meet the right. Take the knees out a little wider than hip distance. Big toes can touch. Send the hips back to an extended leg child's pose. So this opening of the knees creates more space here for the belly to lower down. We're going to want that in just a second here. But allow yourself to release down. Head could come towards the ground. If it doesn't touch, that is quite all right. If you want it to, bring in a block or a cushion, something to fill in that space to get a release through the head, neck, and shoulders. Awesome work. From here, tent up onto the fingertips. So like you're cupping a cupcake on the ground here. So we're just pressing into the hands, or into the fingertips. That's gonna raise the chest up. If you need some more space between you and the ground, you can bring in blocks or something similar to raise the hands up. And then once again, we're gonna take those small little torso circles. So that's where that extra space through the hips is gonna help. It's not big, you know, we're not really rounding out. It's nice and small, moving from the belly button. You may really notice a difference between the left oblique and the right, having only worked that left side. And then go ahead and reverse direction of those torso circles. Fantastic work. When you're ready, start to walk the hands back. Walk the knees in towards center, just a reset between sides. Find a little spreading out through the hands. Prop the toes, root back through the heels. Find that core engagement, draw the belly in, keeping the spine nice and extended. Slowly start to hover the knees. Rooting back through the heels, we keep that spine extended, coming through bear pose. And then nice and slow, from that strength in the core, continue to lift the hips from the belly button. Chest comes back towards the thighs as we find a downward dog. Take whatever pedaling through the feet or shaking out through the head feels good here. Ooh, it feels really good to root down through the right heel to stretch that right the right booty cheek, the outer hip there. Awesome work. If it feels good to shake it out, bouncing through the heels, shaking the pelvis like it's one size too big and you want to shake it to the ground. Awesome work. All right, we've got that series on the other side. Then we'll get into our deep relaxation. So when you are ready, from your downward dog, nice and slow, bend through the knees. Start to shift the head forward. Keep that spine nice and straight. Coming back through our bear pose. Core is engaged, rooting through the heels, extending through the spine, and then nice and slow, lowering the knees down to our cushion, to our little padding here. And then we'll take that series on the other side. So finding that nice solid connection to the hands, however you want to do that. Finding what feels good there. Awesome, lengthening through the spine. And then slowly starting to draw the belly in. Little pulses here. So the pacing is up to you for the breath. We don't really want a full-on fire breath where it's that, very forceful. But we also don't really want it as slow as like a deep belly breath where we're trying to extend the breath as much as possible. So it's kind of like in between there. All right, if it feels right for you, shift the weight into the right hand so that you can start to extend the left hand forward. Reestablishing the balance. Redistribute the weight between the knees, the tops of the feet, and the right hand. All right, bring the fingertips together with the thumb. Bring that into the belly button. And then slight tuck through the tailbone, so we're just lengthening a little more through that tailbone. Pelvis tucks. Fingers in the belly button and pulse up. So it's a little different than how we started. When we had both hands on the ground, so we've got that little tuck through the pelvis, so now we're just exaggerating that tuck. Take it, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome work. From here, we're going to extend the right toes back. The right toes either hover or they raise up so that the thigh is parallel to the ground. We're going to bring the fingertips over to that right oblique here. We're going to contract through the oblique, drawing the right hip up towards the right rib, and that is going to naturally raise and lower the foot. Now again, pay attention to who's in the driver's seat. It is the oblique contraction here, which naturally, a byproduct is that hip drawing up and the foot lowering down. Continue to breathe. Notice the weight distribution between the right hand and the left knee, left foot. Awesome work. Let's take it. 3, 2, and 1. Leg extended, bend the knee, Heel up towards the sky, toes flex back. Stay active through those toes. And then circle through the torso from that right oblique. Nice and small. I am sweaty. Whew. My left booty is starting to talk to me. That right knee is going to want to drop down, keep it raised. Awesome work. Reverse the direction of the circles. And 3, 2, and 1. Release the left hand down. Draw that right knee in. Heel towards the glute. So we've got that right knee kind of coming towards the wrist. Once again, with that oblique contraction, it's going to raise the hip bone up towards the rib. And as a byproduct, that knee is going to raise kind of from the wrist up towards the elbow. Now again, we're not moving through that knee. We're working through the oblique. So it'll be less range of motion than if we were just raising that knee up and down. Deeper core activation. Whew. Really feeling that left glute here, starting to feel it in my shoulders and my back. Here we go. Let's take it for 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. From our tabletop, extending the right foot out, really press into that outer foot, finding activation through that whole inner leg. We're going to start to walk the hands back. Left hand comes out to the left side. So left hand, left knee, right foot, all in line, coming into a side plank variation here. If it would feel good, extending the right arm up towards the sky. You could also bring the bicep by the ear, extending even more through that side body, or a little stretch through the shoulder with the hand raised up. Bend the elbow, bring the hand to the low back, draw the shoulder back. Your choice. You got nice side stretch through the obliques. Before we take that last oblique work, we're going to raise up through center from the strength in the obliques. And on an exhale, open up to gate pose. Ooh, feeling that. So just a nice counter stretch here, opening up through that left side. Beautiful work. Coming back up through center. Releasing that left hand back down towards the ground. Right hand can be doing whatever. It can extend up, extend out, or come again to feel those obliques, get that activation. We're going to flex the toes and turn them up, the right toes. So we've got that external rotation. And then once again, we're going to find that contraction through the obliques. The hip bone is going to raise up towards the low ribs, and that's going to, as a byproduct, raise that foot up, raise the right foot. So again, we're not lifting through that foot here. We're activating through the oblique, that contraction. So we're contracting through that oblique, lifting the hip up towards the ribs, and that has a natural effect of that raising of the leg. Embrace the shake. Whew. Here we go. Let's take it for 3, 2, and 1. Release the foot. Awesome work. Release the hands. Walk through center. Extend out through the outer edge of the right foot. Walk the hands forward. Send the hips back. Extended leg child's pose. Awesome work. As you feel ready, nice and slow, raise the hips back up, draw the left knee in. Yogi's choice here, if you want to leave the knees in line with the ankles as you send the hips back to child's pose, or if that wide leg child's pose felt good for you. Extending out through the arms, releasing the chest, head down towards the earth. If you'd like a release in the shoulders, turn the palms up, letting the tops of the shoulders relax and release. If you want a stretch through the triceps, if that would feel good, bring the hands into prayer, walk the elbows forward, and then shift back. Relax, release, spread out through the low back. This is our last little bit on our knees. Beautiful work. When you're ready, raising up and out of your child's pose and starting to come into a reclined position, but we are setting ourselves up for our yoga nidra, for our guided meditation. So we want to be as comfortable as possible. If you are, if you want to stay awake, you can stay seated. You can get into a comfortable seated meditation. If you are like me and have a tendency to fall asleep during meditation. But like I said, this one is totally fine if you do fall asleep. Your subconscious is still absorbing and integrating everything that we're discussing, this deep relaxation. But the conscious mind isn't present, so you're not going to really remember it. So if you want to stay present, do that. But take as much time if you want to lie back. Use blankets, cushions, pillows. Throw something underneath the knees. Wrap yourself up in a blanket. Maybe put, a sleeping mask or something over the eyes to kind of block out any light. So really take a lot of time to settle into a nice form of relaxation as we start to get into our yoga nidra. Now this will take us directly into our shavasana. So I will, end, sorry about that. There we go. All right, so I will, do a proper ending to our yoga nidra, and then that will direct us right into our shavasana. So take your time, again, to settle into your comfortable, relaxed, supported position. We want to be able to allow the body to release, to relax, to let go. You're welcome to close the eyes or take them to a soft gaze. And as you start to tune out the external world, start to really turn your energy inward. Allow yourself to recognize any major emotions, any large life events that are happening for you at this moment. We're often taught that meditation is about emptying the mind, and that's really not that possible to do. So don't be afraid if you have thoughts. Don't feel guilty for having thoughts come into the mind. The idea behind meditation is not to suppress any of those thoughts, but to hold space for them, to be aware of them, but not let them control us, not let them take the driver's seat. And know that in Yoga Nidra, nothing is supposed to happen, and nothing is not supposed to happen. So there's really no wrong way to do this. With the eyes closed, allow your body to relax a little deeper. If it would help, take a nice deep breath in through the nose and a nice long sigh out of the mouth. Maybe do that a few more times. The sigh is a nice signal for the body to release, to relax, a nice signal for the mind to let go. If there is anything that you can do to relax a little more, maybe you get 10% more relaxed. As we go through the process of Yoga Nidra, I invite you to welcome anything and everything that comes up for you, anything that comes into your awareness. Abandon all assessment of things and simply become the observer. Our intention for this Yoga Nidra is to find deep relaxation, to find inner peace. Today we're going to explore sensations and feelings in our body to practice experiencing ourselves as awareness. Begin by noticing everything that you are aware of at this moment. Notice any sounds, any smells. Notice the temperature of the room against your skin. Notice the feeling of your clothing or blanket against your skin. Notice the breath. Notice all emotions, thoughts, and internal sensations. Simply welcome, recognize, and witness everything in your awareness without any judgment, without any assessment, just pure awareness. Begin to identify awareness itself. Awareness manifesting itself in the form of the body, thoughts, emotions, sounds, sensations, anything that you are aware of in this moment. Remember that sensations will come and go and will reveal your underlying awareness of those things, becoming awareness itself. As awareness, experience yourself as sensation. Follow my words as you become more aware of your body and of awareness itself, allowing yourself to become increasingly more relaxed. Bring your awareness to the sensation of your mouth. Simply notice its presence. Welcome, witness, and recognize the sensations of your mouth. Bring awareness to your eyes. To your ears. Join that sensation to be aware of the entire face. Expand that awareness to the entire head. Feel the sensation of your neck, in your throat. Allowing your awareness to make its way down to the shoulders and the chest. Be aware, moving down the right bicep, down to the right elbow, right forearm, the right wrist, continuing down through the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, letting your awareness extend out through the right thumb, the right pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Expand the awareness to include the whole right hand and the whole right arm. Allow your awareness to extend over to the left shoulder, down the left bicep and tricep, down towards the left elbow, forearm, and the left wrist. Feel into sensation to the back of the left hand, the palm of the left hand, traveling down through the left thumb, the left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and left pinky. Expand your awareness to include the whole left hand and the whole left arm. Feel both arms as sensation. Feel both arms at the same time. Starting to bring awareness to the sensation of your trunk, your chest. Feel your breathing, your belly, your back. Simply welcome, recognize, and witness the sensation in your whole center. Simply notice its presence as awareness. Bringing awareness to the sensations in your pelvis, the front, the back, and the sides of the pelvis. Simply noticing as sensation. Welcome, recognize, and witness anything that arises spontaneously as thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sensations. Allowing your awareness to travel to your right hip, down through the right booty cheek, the right quad and hamstring, hamstring. Down through the knee, the right shin and calf. Traveling down to the right ankle, the right heel. Be aware of sensation through the top of the right foot, the bottom of the right foot. Letting that awareness extend out into the right big toe, second toe, middle toe, fourth toe, and out through the pinky toe. Feel into the whole right foot, the whole right leg. Allow your awareness to travel to the left hip, down through the left booty cheek, the left quad and hamstring. Notice your awareness over the left knee, down towards the left shin and calf, extending to the left ankle, the left heel, the top of the left foot, the bottom of the left foot, out through the left big toe, second toe, middle toe, the fourth toe, and your pinky toe. Bring awareness to the whole left foot and the entire left leg. Feel both legs together as sensation. Now feel the entire left side of your body, head to toe. Feel the entire right side of your body, head to toe. Now feel both sides together, feeling your entire body. Begin to feel as if your entire body is very large, expansive, as large as you can imagine it. Now adopt that feeling of being very small, as small as you can imagine. Very large once again, and now very small. Now adopt the feeling of being both large and small simultaneously. This doesn't need to make sense. Just feel large and small at the same time. What are you aware of in this moment? Sensations will come and go. One moment you may feel small and the other large. What is the part of you that can be both large and small? Sensations reveal your unchanging, underlying awareness. Be awareness itself. Become extremely aware of everything in this moment as awareness itself. Simply welcome, recognize, and witness all things in this moment as simple awareness. As awareness, I invite you to begin to feel your body lying on the floor or in a seated meditation. Feel the sensations in your legs, feet, pelvis, trunk, arms, and head. Coming back to our intention of this Yoga Nidra practice, to find deep relaxation in the body, to find peace in the mind. In a moment, we will be ending our Yoga Nidra practice because we have a practice experiencing ourselves as deep awareness. You may find yourself moving back into your everyday life with clarity, purpose, and focus. You will find answers to your questions and presence in your relationships. You may be more compassionate towards others and yourself. You may feel less stress in your life, less reactive to that stress. Through our practice of experiencing ourselves as awareness, our lives may become richer and more vibrant. As I count down from 5, that will signal the end of our Yoga Nidra practice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our Yoga Nidra has completed. You to stay here for as long as you would like, for as long as you can gift yourself the time. Continue to observe, to be aware. Feel ready whenever that is. Gently bring a little movement back into the body, being kind with yourself. If you are lying down, gently rolling onto one side of the body, pausing for as long as you'd like here in a nurturing pose. Offering yourself gratitude for rolling out your mat, for opening yourself up, the courage to explore your internal workings through the power of awareness. Whenever you feel ready, Press yourself up to a comfortable seat if you're not already there. I invite you to bring the hands to heart center or take any other meaningful gesture with the hands. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this practice with you, to hopefully bring a little mindful engagement into your practice and into your life. Maybe a little compassion and awareness. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I see you, I honor you, and I bow to you. Namaste.